Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into a core concept of SQL that every beginner has to understand, that is SQL data types. Whether you are designing a new database or writing your first SQL query, choosing the right data type is very important. It helps the database to know what kind of data it is going to store, whether it is a text, number, date type or some more complex data type. So now let's see what are different data types in SQL. So basically there are three categories in data type, that is predefined, constructed and user defined types in SQL. So what is predefined data types? These are basic built-in types like integers, strings and constructed or such as arrays and rows, and user defined types that are custom types created by developers. So let's start with basic numeric, string and date types here. So as in we have in text, character or string types. These include char, varchar. We have another type, CLOB. Char is used for fixed length strings, while varchar is more flexible and stores variable length of strings. If you are dealing with large text, CLOB, CLOB, which is the short form of character large object, is the type you need to implement. For international or multilingual text, SQL also supports Unicode character types like nchar and nvarchar. Let's now see numeric data types. These are split into exact types like int, integer, that has again integer, small int, and we have decimal that stores precision values. So approximate types such as float and real, double precision. So these exact types are perfect when precision is important. So if you take financial data, then this precision is very important. Approximate types are better for, again, scientific calculations where slight variations are also acceptable. With the new standards like SQL 2003, we also got types like BIGINT for very large whole numbers and even multiset for set of values. So now we have date time types that helps us to work with temporal data. You can use date to store calendar date, time for time of the day and the timestamp if you need both combined. There is also the interval type that allows you to store a span of time, for example 2 years, 3 months or 15 minutes. So SQL also has a Boolean type, though it is a optional depending on SQL dialect. It can store true or false or unknown, which is especially useful for logical expressions. If you are working with binary data like images or encrypted files, then binary, VARBINARY and BLOB types are what you will be using. BLOB stands for binary large object and it can store large volumes of binary data efficiently. So that's about data type, date type and Boolean type. In some of the versions of SQL, Boolean doesn't support, where we will be using bit, that is also like for true false, but it stores 0 or 1. So that's about data types. Apart from these, SQL also supports special types like XML and increasingly even JSON. especially in modern relational databases, there are also constructed types like array for storing a sequence of values, row types that act like records or structures within a table. So when you should use which data type, it depends on the use case you are working on. Use VARCHAR for flexible text, decimal for precise numbers, timestamp for logging events, and so on. Picking the right data type is also helps you maintain data accuracy and can also improve your query performance and storage efficiency. That's about data types. So now let's move to the hands-on implementation of data types with SQL. So I'm using here Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. You need to install SSMS for this. If you want to know how to install SSMS and setup, I have done the installation guide in another video. I'll post the link with the description of the video below. You can check it out. So now let's start creating a table using the different data types of SQL here. So let's start create table. We will suppose create some student table, and we are supposed to use parentheses, not flower braces. So let me use parentheses, open, close with semicolon. So now student will have a ID of int type and primary key constraint. And then I will give first name of type varchar. It will have maximum of 50. Last name again varchar of 50 maximum, and we will be giving class as character, and we will be giving his total marks as decimal 10, 2 after decimal, and date of exam is date. I will again give status. I want to use boolean, but here it is not supporting in this version of SQL, so I can use bit, either 0 or 1. Default as 1. So that is the table definition I have given. Let me try to execute. So it has given an error. So that spelling here it is create table. Let's execute. So we column with type bit. Let me just give bit. So now successfully executed. This must have created a table student with these fields with these particular data types. Let's check it out. Let me refresh this and see now. This is the table that we have created with the columns ID, primary key int, first name varchar 50, last name varchar 50, and so on. So let me try to edit. So we can add values. I can give total marks as 80.75 and date of exam is today's date 7/1/25 and status is 1. So now it's giving some error. So let me see, this is true or false. We will say null for now. To see again. Microsoft SQL data provider. So as class has only character 1, it is allowed only one character. So I have given instead of 10 as Roman number 10. So it got saved. Let's now. So now when I try to select top of 1000 rows, it selected the inserted record from the student table. So this is how we will be creating any database table with columns with required data types. Let's now move to arithmetic operators used in SQL. So what are arithmetic operators? Those are utilized to do certain operations. So SQL supports arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. So these are as given in this example here. Let's try this as well. So these are the operators often used in select query. So we can perform operations on numerical data like calculating total. If you want to calculate total of any particular column, you can do total. And if you want to perform any mathematical operation like 10% of salary of an employee, you can do it like this. So this one is particularly for 10% bonus on the employee salary. So if you want to display the bonus that employee is going to get, you can do arithmetic operation on salary column and display as bonus. So let's try this example. Let me do a select query using these arithmetic operations. So before that, let's see, we have created already an employee table with the columns like this, and we have a salary decimal value. So if I wanted to implement a calculation of bonus 10% for each employee, so I have a query like this. We can fetch first name, last name, salary, and then the bonus like, so I need to write a 10% bonus. So select first name. So it is expecting employees dot, let me just give first name first name, last name, and salary. And I need to fetch the 10% of salary. So salary into salary star is multiplication. So I need to perform a multiplication by 0.10 as what we will be doing bonus from employees table. So this is the arithmetic operation we are performing here. Let me execute this. So if I perform an operation like this, so we have one record, John Doe with salary 60,000. So 10% of 60,000 is nothing but 6,000 as bonus is being written in this particular query. So that is how we perform arithmetic operation on SQL. Let's now move to comparison operators. So what are comparison operators in SQL and how are they used in our database implementations? So comparison operations are like equal to, not equal to, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. So this is used in basically for where conditions, where clauses. So comparison operators allow SQL queries to compare values within conditions like where clause. So the main operations are like here. We will try to do this comparison in our select query. So basically this query is to retrieve employees with a salary greater than 50,000. Let's try to implement this. They are trying to fetch first name, last name, salary where salary is greater than 50,000. So this is what we will be doing in our select. So now let me select all the records first. So I have only one record. Let me try to add few more records. And we will leave it. I will have this 25,000. I will leave the department as finance. So let me see. So we have to add so this is what we have inserted. Let's save this. Let's try to execute. So it has given all the records. Now let me remove this one and I have to add a condition where salary greater than 50,000. So I got all the records which has above salary than 50,000. So I can again write another condition saying department is equal to So we have mentioned double equal to. Let me try execute this. So now if I did and department is finance, so then the remaining records from other departments has gone. So if I put department is not finance, so it got other than finance department, which is arts. This is how greater than and then not equal to. So this is how we use arithmetic operations in our select queries. Let's move to the next part, logical operators in SQL. So SQL offers logical operators like and or and not to combine multiple conditions in a select query. These are operations particularly useful when filtering data based on multiple criteria condition, and both conditions must be true or at least one condition must be true, not negates a condition. So this is one sample condition with and that we have already checked before. So if both the conditions are true, then only it will fetch the records. Otherwise, it gives null results. That's about logical operators. Let's move to the next section, which is data types used in SQL. So we have already seen the different data types in SQL. One of them is date data type. So the date data type stores only the year, month, and day of a date, and it allows you to compare dates and perform operations such as filtering records based on a date range or identifying recent entries also. SQL also supports functions like current date to work with the current date. And here is the sample query we will be trying now. So what are we doing here? Finding employees who joined after 1st January 2023. So let's try. So let's try the query on SMS. So let's remove this where class. Try all the records from employees table. So here we don't have a joining date. Let's now add the dates for our query to check the date. So let me try to edit here. Edit and add joining date. So let me try. So here, let me see. Actually, joining date is null. So let me add a joining date. So let me give 0 to 0 to 0 to 2024. And let me copy this. Put it. And let me give 22 here. So everything has been updated accordingly. Now let me so now it has got the joining date. So what we have to do now? Find those employees who has joined after 2023 January 1st. So I have to joining date. I have to compare the field join date greater than the format we have is 2023 January 1st. So 01 01, this is the format. Let me try to execute and see. So it has got all that has been joined after this particular date. If I try to press less than, let me see the one in 2022 has come. So this is how we perform date operation for comparison here. And then you can try doing current date. Let me try to execute and see what it says. Current date is not a method. It doesn't. Normally we have with this function available here. It still doesn't recognize. So in our where class, I have to compare join date less than. We don't have a current date, so what I can do, I can write a similar get date is a function we have. Get date as date, and we can cast it as date. So let's see. So all the dates, joining dates are lesser than current date. That's why it fetched all the records like this here. So that's about how do we fetch the current date and compare the date value with another date string. So that's about today's video. So you can give a try using this where class. You can even try to find the difference of two dates and print it and check it out. So that's about SQL data types. Let's see more topics in the further videos. Thank you for watching today.